Welcome back everybody to our Sound Decision Toy Showcase. Tonight I've got something a little bit completely different. When I was a young guy growing up in England, there was a TV show that used to be on called the Magic Roundabout. And I've got some Corgi toys here from the late 60s, early 70s. So the show actually ran for a number of years, from 1965 right through to 1977. There was over 440 episodes, I think 441 in total. And it was originally a French show, but it was also dubbed in English for the English market. So there's a few characters involved in this particular show about a guy who had a magic roundabout. Or carousel, as you might think in the States. So here's a few of the characters. There's Dougal the dog, he's the guy on the back, and that rabbit there is a guy called Dylan. He was actually named after Bob Dylan. And just hanging out the window there is a snail, and his name is Brian. Obviously they're in this pretty cool 60s Flower Power Citroen. And that's three of the main characters. There was also a couple of other characters. There was Ermintrude, who was a cow. There was also Florence, who was one of the human characters, and Mr. McHenry, who used to ride a trike, and he's actually coming up next. And there was also a tomato with a spring that used to spring around the place called Zebedee. So it was a pretty unusual show, but it was pretty crazy back in the day, but certainly enjoyable, and I enjoyed it as a kid. So that's the first one there. So Brian hanging out the window, Brian the snail, Dylan the rabbit standing up, and Dougal the dog just hanging out the back there with his long hair and his big black nose. And next up we've got Mr. McHenry's tricycle. This is pretty cool because what you've got there is Mr. McHenry on his tricycle, and in the back there is Zebedee. There's Mr. McHenry, and now that lid lifts up and Zebedee springs out when you turn the wheel on the back of the trailer. So these are all pretty solid die cast toys. See the big yellow knob on the back? When you turn that, the little parasol there lifts up and out pops Zebedee. So that's two more characters. These are the only two toys that I have of the Magic Roundabout. I believe there was a complete set that came out which had about 6 or 7 toys and featured all of the characters of the show. These are the only two that I have. They're both in very good condition. A couple of little paint marks on them and just sort of playware, but for their age they're very good. They're fairly collectible these days, and they certainly seem to be increasing in price. I don't collect them for the monetary value. I collect them because I just love the castings and the care and attention and the way everything was made and put together back in those days. There's two other vehicles that I've got for you tonight from two other different shows. The next one up is not a Corgi toy, it's actually a Matchbox toy. And I actually got this one recently on an online auction, and it was very cheap. It's a little Pinocchio car, and obviously very famous character from the Disney cartoon Pinocchio. So there he is in his little green car with a little red radiator on the front and the little yellow canopy on the back. It's got a few scuffs on the paint, but overall it's a very sound toy and it's in very good condition. So that's quite a cute little collectible toy. And there's Matchbox Pinocchio car. And the last one I've got for you tonight, I actually had this toy given to me when I was 5. So I've pretty much owned this my whole life. And there was a show in the UK featuring a fox who was a puppet, and his name was Basil Brush. And there he is. And the only parts that are missing on this car are the little lanterns which go just under the windshield. But apart from that, I've owned this car for 47 years. and it's absolutely cool. I really love this car. It's got a couple of little scratches on it from where I used to play with it, but there's Basil Brush driving his little car. So if you get a chance to YouTube some of these old shows, certainly YouTube Basil Brush, YouTube the Magic Roundabout, and obviously maybe YouTube Pinocchio. These were certainly a lot more popular in the UK, and you guys in America, if you're viewing this, you may never have heard of these characters. They certainly are different type of humour. They're very 60s slapstick, pretty cheesy comedy, but Basil Brush is from the 70s and 80s, and I think they revised the show in the 90s as well, but certainly the original show was pretty funny, and as a young guy I used to absolutely love racing home from school to watch Basil Brush on the TV. So that's a little bit of an insight into a few more toys that I've got, and I hope you enjoyed them. Not much more to say apart from that. I'll be hopefully getting into some Star Wars models soon, and also some Jerry Anderson Thunderbirds, Joe 90, and a few of his creations as well. I've got lots of nice models from those shows, so I look forward to catching up with you guys on those videos. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you'll get notified if there's another video. And if you think one of your friends might like to see some different toys, just tell them to look me up and subscribe as well. We're up over 200 views now, which is not bad for 1 month, and wouldn't mind a few more subscribers. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.